one of our gCADPlus users has received this drawing as a base on which to work. It's an architect's drawing. If you look in the layout, there are a whole lot of tabs: electrical layout, floor coverings and so on. So it's a very big drawing, a big model, and it's going to be cumbersome to work with. For example, if you look at layers here, and you see a lot of layers are in this drawing, but there's nothing on them. Now we're down into a zone where there are some, or is some information. Some layers are turned off as well. So what we want to do is to lift those base information and put it in a new drawing. I'll use the FS command now. You may be able to see it's 1.6 megabytes in size. That's a very big drawing. The other thing that worries me in this drawing is that there are lots of blocks with strange names, and many of those blocks are empty. Some are useful, and you can see they're obviously doorways and so on. Not all are empty, but there's a significant number. U327 is empty, and that's going to clutter up and slow down the response. So how to deal with it? Well, a simple way to deal with this is to copy those elements of the design that we need. There's a whole lot of material here that we can erase, and just select all that base information that's been cleaned up from the drawing above, copy it to the clipboard, go to File and New, and I'd suggest you start with No Template. I'll say no, I'm not going to save. No Template. That gives us a drawing environment with nothing in it. No layers. If we look at layers, nothing there whatsoever. It's a very clean environment. Now we right click and select Paste from the clipboard. When asked to specify an insertion point, just click and the drawing will go in at 0,0 at the bottom. If we then zoom extents, there's our drawing. And if we change our view to a background colour of white, now we can see the drawing. We can start to turn off those layers that we don't need. So if we now look in the layers list, can you see now there are a lot of layers that have come across, and we have to work with them, and it's awkward to work with them because some layers have been left set at foreground, some have colours set. We would like our architectural friend to be working to a standard so we could work easily with this drawing, but nonetheless things should work. You could, for the sake of argument, create a new layer, and we'll call it L-LAND for landscape. It's a layer specially for landscape, and we'll set it as current, leave the colour foreground, line type continuous and line weight default. So we're in a base gCADPlus environment now. What I'd like to do is type FS for file size. We've gone down, you may be able to see it's 242, so we've gone from 1.6 megabytes to 0.25 of a megabyte. That's a phenomenal decrease in size. So we've got a really drawing now that works really, really snappily, and we can create layouts and insert our own information. I notice here that there's, if I select it, if I can, I think that's a point there. It's quite possibly a block with a point inside the block as a marker, and I could edit the block, but it's simpler to go to Format, Point Styles, and we'll change that figure of 3 and we'll make it 0.5, and I think you'll see the point disappears and goes back to a much smaller size. So here we are, we've got our base information ready. We can just check that layer's on Resi CAD, and it's a dimension style on a layer SI dim. So we'd start by turning off layer SI dim, because if we need to know distances from one boundary to another, we can simply use the distance tool. I'm pretty sure this is some mistaken doodling, so that's gone in. I'm not all that happy with this symbol here, so it's a block. It's obviously used as a marker, and not sort of layer floor. We probably don't need the layer floor, so we're not eliminating, we're just turning it off. So you can see I'm gradually getting a cleaner drawing to work with. seem to be some more dimensions here. They must be on a different layer, SI Pav. The naming conventions worry me a lot. Very difficult to work out and to control. So now they're gone, so we're starting to get into a position where we can start putting our landscape plan down. This must be a polyline on a layer called SI Fence. Now we have to come over here to layer SI Fence, and I think we'll find SI Fence, if I can find it. I think we'll find that it's got a particular, here it is right at the bottom, it's got fence line 2 associated with it. So that's why it's being drawn with the simulated posts in the fence. You could pick it and quite possibly change its lines type scale. And if we make that 1.5, that spreads the markers on the fence line out a little to look a little more realistic. So I hope that shows you a much easier way of working on a base drawing that an architect gives you. We now have a very clean environment and we can work happily with it.